This is the Configuration Software Report, and I'm Steve Farnsworth. I'm talking with Mark Keenan from Technicon, and we're talking about DesignCenter, the CPQ software of choice. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going, Steve?
It's good. I'd like you to dig right in about the methodology. How is Technicon's DesignCenter methodology different from its competitors?
So, Technicon, we operate in what's called the configuration price quote space, CPQ space, and we're doing a next generation of system. That's two sides of that. One is what I would say the end user sees, so the user interface. Our system would engage in customers on their terms, so it's what they expect from solutions. It'll guide them to the right solution. So right is the one that's best fit for them, most profitable. It automates the complete front end. It really provides a lot of tools for collaboration, and probably just as important as all those on the front end side, it's also, we call it the configurator for the rest of us, and that's primarily because the back end, the maintenance system, is really a new generation in terms of ease of how you maintain the system, how you change it over time.
Just to put a little context in, people talk about next generation, but this actually has a history. Kind of originally, the first generation was all by hand, very painful, a lot of people doing it. And you guys are in third generation. So second generation was, what were people doing after the first generation of manually doing with throwing bodies at? What was second generation?
Second generation, it's, I apologize if I start sounding geeky for you, but second generation, you're still demanding that the product marketing people who are maintaining these systems, basically that they write code, so write procedural logic that tells the system how to behave. We've pretty much gone away from that. You could still certainly write code if you want, but really the system allows the product managers to just go through a series of menus and set up fairly complex behaviors. But it's designed with the way manufacturers think about their products, so it really makes it much, much easier to maintain.
And just for additionally, if you had to look at the three generations of CPQ software,
yeah.
How many people are still doing the first generation, and how many people do you think are doing the second generation and third generation?
Well, third generation, very few. It's probably been only in the last 2 to 3 years at the most that third generation systems have come to the fore. The other ones, it varies. Maybe 20%, 30% still doing first generation. A lot of folks have their second generation, but they're pretty antiquated, if you will, pretty hard coded.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Go ahead.
No, it's not that surprising. People, they tend to put systems in, so sometimes it's easy to get started with a certain approach, but longer term, the second generation, the costs keep going up and keep getting more expensive. So it's not that surprising.
We talked a little about this kind of a smart guided sales process. What do you mean by a smart guided sales process?
Yeah, so first is we call it engage the customer on their terms. So what we mean by that is customers, they don't look at a product the same way a manufacturer does. So if I'm manufacturing a car, I may think about how much pressure needs to go in the tires, or how high the clearance needs to be so that you can clear most clearance in North America, those kind of factors, engineering factors. But consumers, they care about the color, they may care about the texture of the seats. So the priorities of the consumers, those are different than the manufacturability or what the product is per se. So one thing you're doing is you're trying to get a solution that's right for the customer, fits their needs. Will it work in on the West Coast? Will it work on the East Coast? Does it meet the regulations in California? All those things, all those factors for the customers make it a right solution. But once you get that, another aspect of guided sales is, well, all those things being equal, let's do the system that's easiest to manufacture, most profitable, we can get to the consumer fastest. So a right solution optimizes both what you can manufacture, but also what's going to meet the desires of the end consumer.
All the data now shows that collaborative sales processes always generate more revenue. How does a DesignCenter support collaboration?
DesignCenter supports it in multiple ways. One of the most obvious is, of course, it's online. You can invite users to projects. There's a lot of tools for tracking and those kind of things. So it's very easy for various people to log in at various times and work on the projects or hand the controls over to other people to assist with putting together a solution. But over and above that, the system has techniques where it learns the best practices over time, and you can publish the solutions back into the catalog, if you will. So there's a number of techniques where over time it's getting better just based upon the behavior of the end users. I mean, simplistically, you could call it crowdsourcing. You're crowdsourcing the solutions, and then they just keep getting better over time.
Let's dig a little deeper on that. Tell me how DesignCenter specifically supports departments like sales and marketing and engineering and operations.
Sure. Maybe I'll start from the out and work my way back in. So for consumers or dealers or distributors, the system has a number of tools to make it easy to put together solutions. Remember, we may be configuring solutions that have 100 or 1,000 products, so it can be complex, but there are a lot of tools that sort of guide those users who are novices to the best solution. As you move into the other users, you'd often have other capabilities. So a project may come in that's started by a consumer. A salesperson then can see that. So they see all the opportunities that are in their space, but they might have extra tools, maybe pricing tools or ability to change pricing. They can track how often projects are being accessed. So they have tools that allow them to see what's going on in their area. Finally, it's very common that as you move further into engineering or operations, this system's roles-based. So those different users, those different roles, they'll have different tools. They may be able to log in and create a special product, for instance, or they may be able to do something around expediting orders. But activities that are available to those users that fit what they're trying to do in the organization.
So getting into CPQ 3.0, DesignCenter allows non-software programmers to still customize DesignCenter on the fly. How can they do that?
Yeah, in all kinds of ways. So the system works on rules and constraints, but it works on setting up sort of limits or ways users work. So non-technical marketing people can say, hey, this thing is configured in a certain way. I can maybe get a certain option pack on a car, but maybe, unless I get the premium, I can't get the sport tires. Those kind of marketing rules for a product. It'll also do other things like system validation. So taking the car example again, maybe if you get a certain type of car, there's different warranties. So maybe if it has a radio, then you would offer the XM satellite radio option because it knows it has that radio as part of the package. Those are system rules. There are other rules like quote rules for the entire project. So because the user's ordered so much or configured the entire order this way, we'll do other kind of merchandising things around those orders. Those are one set of techniques. There are also filters or guided sales. So we have specials. So these options are preferred at this time. Or let's ask customers about where they're located. Are they in California or New Jersey? Well, those kinds of questions, those kind of guided sales techniques, those are under the control of marketing to set up and change in the system.
And what's the for them? What is the user interface to be able to do some of those things?
It's our Content Studio interface. It's meant for non-technical users. It's an Explorer type interface, so if you know Windows Explorer, you can use it. It's fairly sophisticated, so it's not like a typical database. It's object oriented, but in this case, even though I'm using a computer science term, it actually makes it easier because product marketing people, manufacturing people tend to think of their products as objects, and so this has a lot of functionality that facilitates allowing them to interact with the system the way they expect their products to work. But essentially, Explorer-like interface. Typically, most marketing people may have 1 or 2 hours of training at most to get comfortable and make the modifications they want to make to the system.
Let's say I've done my research. I've decided that it makes a lot of sense to go with the DesignCenter. What's the ROI case I need to make to my CEO or the budget signature?
Yeah, so ROI varies. I mean, it depends on different manufacturers sell different products with different product profit margins. So the formulas vary somewhat. We certainly have documents that document a number of the benefits, but I can talk at a high level of some of the benefits. One of the big benefits is you're allowing end users and customers to come in and configure or build solutions that they desire. And so you're engaging your customers. They can come in and find you right away. They can engage with your solutions, know about it. So that's a big benefit where in the past they might have felt they need to call somebody or talk to somebody on the phone. They can now play with your products and get comfortable with that you have a solution for them before they need to call you. There's a big benefit from tracking, or even just documentation as well. So oftentimes our system will create quotes or documents that might take days or literally up to a week to create if you did it manually. Well, now once you have the solution, you can press a button and you can create those documents in a minute or two. And it didn't sound like a big thing, but most of these proposals are going through multiple revs. So once you make those changes, you don't have to go through and spend another 3 days updating a proposal. You just make a quick change and save that time multiple times. Another big thing is just getting legal orders. So it's really common. The end users, when they don't have these systems, they'll make mistakes on the order forms or forget something. So if you're a manufacturer and you've forgotten something for an installation, for instance, or you got the wrong power supply, you'll kill all the profit on your job right there. Versus a system like this that'll check and say, hey, did you really mean to buy this solution without a power supply? So those kind of mundane checks can save a lot of consternation and a lot of redoing the order once it's out in the field, which is very expensive. There's a long list of both increasing sales as well as decreasing the cost of sales, and you can find examples of it from our website with actual data points as well that you could scale to your situation.
So how does DesignCenter shorten the sales rep's learning curve, reduce risk for a bad quote, and increase profits?
Well, most of these systems, all these systems require no training. So for a salesperson, they can come in and quickly, they're guided, they're asked questions about their preferences, and the system, almost any user can create a very complex, valid solution early on in the system. They may, because the system's designed to collaborate, they may invite an experienced user to come in and comment on the solution, but they've done it on their own, and they're, by doing it, they pick up a lot of confidence and knowledge about that solution. Another way they're saving a lot of time is a lot of times they're not specifying something from the ground up, so it's not like you build a car by selecting the tires and then selecting the paint. The system will allow you to choose from a variety of complex solutions that already exist or parts of solutions that already exist and put those together very quickly. So it can dramatically increase the speed with which your customers are getting familiar and creating valid solutions from the get-go.
One of the keys is that of this process for DesignCenter is to enhance the customer experience. How is it doing that?
Well, a number of ways. I mean, one is that ease of use, but another big factor for the customers is, and it'll sound odd, Steve, but one of the things that really changes is these systems are designed to be interactive and visual. So the latest generation, we're playing off the theme of gamification, which is what a lot of the end consumers expect when they have the buying experience. So rather than selecting something from a catalog, they can play with it and see how it interacts in the solution. So one of our customers, for instance, makes robotic solutions. Users can drag and drop solutions together, and they'll snap together like a video game. And it's both that interactivity as well as the visualization. So if your customers have the preference, if they have the choice of a chore or have the choice of an interactive visual experience where they build a solution they're interested in, they're always going to go for the solution that's funner, that's easier to work with. That's our belief, at least.
Well, thank you, Mark, for joining me today. I want to let all our viewers know that you can see a recorded show on YouTube or our podcast via Spreaker, iHeartRadio, or subscribe to the show on iTunes. And, of course, you can always go to the Configuration News Hub. Thank you very much.